Good morning. This is your wake up call. Wake up call. Wake up call. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Shut up and sit down.
Hello, podcast world and the tribe of Inspire the Collective. Welcome back as we jump into another episode of What's in Your Backpack, a season full of travel topics, chatting with international travelers from all over the world, sharing their insider travel tips and tricks, entertaining personal stories for the do's and don'ts, and guided inspiration for the where to's and where nots to benefit your travel addictions. Shout out and admiration to all the weavers out there, the ones that are living their dream life, and also the dreamers, the ones looking to develop their own passions and chasing the life they have always wanted to live. I'm Michael O'Shea, aka your neighborhood travel guide, aka King of the 2-Day Holiday, aka Catch Me If You Can, aka the Traveling Hobo, and I am so excited to introduce this next guest because the moment I learned his story, I was instantly inspired by the journey he has had already in his life. This young American-born travel junkie that has been living and scouring, I think, every corner of the Philippines has literally become a local celebrity around the country because of his awesome vlog videos, photo content he captures that he shares between Facebook, Instagram, and now sneaking up on 1 million followers on his YouTube channel. His story is not one to be missed if you are looking for any type of motivation and inspiration to travel. He's incredibly humble, overly dedicated to his passions, super funny, and where we instantly bonded was through a shared addiction to exhilarating adventures with a lot of upcoming things on his horizons and much more to share in this episode. Please welcome Mr. Carson Moody, better known in the Philippines as Mr. Bisayang Hilaw. How are you doing, sir? And thank you for joining me today.
Doing good, man. You pronounced Bisayang Hilaw perfect. Good job.
Yeah, I was a bit worried, but thank goodness.
Yeah, good job, good job.
Yeah, how you doing over there?
Things are good, man. Just chilling here, locked down. We got a few days where we got to go outside, and then people weren't doing social distance, so now the lockdown's back. So we're just chilling.
No. Yeah, I definitely am
Just
going to get
chilling.
into that. I want to ask a little bit how it's going over there. But, I hear a bit here and there from people that I'm friends with, and obviously because I worked over there, but I definitely want to hear from your perspective and the area you're at and what's going on. Man, I'm sure it's been a bit tough.
Yeah, we're doing well, though.
All right, good. Brother, man, I know that you have been on lockdown, and for some time, I'm sure you're possibly going a bit stir crazy knowing you and your journeys, but, let's get those wheels turning about traveling again. I'm super excited to hear about what how you've created the life that you have, all of your upcoming plans. And, I'm just even more excited to hear your amazing insights that you can share with us about travel and life and, how you've kind of cultivated travel as your lifestyle. But before we jump into it, I have a small little disclaimer for the guests to protect the listeners before we get into it. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. For the show, I don't want any BS, just to create the story for the show. The intent of our time together is to bring raw and honest facts from your personal experiences to benefit our listeners for their travel future. We want to know you, the nitty gritty, whether that be the stories you can't fathom to be true or the embarrassing stories you don't even like to admit. No judgment and sharing just for the sole intent to inspire. Carson, are you in and willing to open your travel backpack and share with the world your story?
Heck yeah, dude. Let's do it.
All right, let's get into it then. Yeah, I wanted to just so people kind of know how this whole season's about just people that I've met along my journey that have really inspired me. And, how I just want to share a bit quickly about how we met before, you share your side. And I got invited to go to this Red Bull event for the World Cliff Jump Championships that they do all around the world. And it was outside of El Nido. And I got on this boat. I mean, you're on this gorgeous island and all these, only very select people. And I think it was 26 or 60 people got invited to this thing. How many was it?
Yeah, it was definitely under 100. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And it was very, very intimate. And you know what we found out? Actually, you told me this, that because you were actually friends with one of the divers or something that worked with the group. And they had said, not even their family members got to go to this event.
Yeah, that was the craziest part.
So crazy.
The divers' parents, they weren't allowed, and then somehow me and Michael end up on this boat watching.
Yeah. And so we're on this boat, we're all loading up early in this morning, loading up on this beautiful boat. And we're headed out to these islands, which is called the Blue Lagoon and the Secret Lagoon, which is amazing in the Philippines. And I'm sitting next to, I think I'm sitting next to you. I know you're sitting across from me, and I hear you chatting with one of the guys. You're chatting about just some of the stuff you guys are doing. You're talking about, you know, the cliff jumps that these guys are about to do. And then we just started chatting about the stuff that we've done. And I mean, it was like instantly we started chatting, laughing, hitting it up. And yeah, we hit it off pretty quick. And just like from there, we spent like 2 days together hanging out and chatting. We've kind of just like stayed in touch since then. That was April last year, right?
Yeah, it's been a year. So crazy.
Yeah, man, that was so fun. So fun. I definitely want to share some of those photos from our story on the Facebook when I post this, but that was such a fun trip. We did, what was that? We did one meet cliff that was 12 meters, right?
Yeah. The thing that brought our friendship together is
Yeah.
I was talking to my friend from Red Bull, and he's all hyping us up saying that we're going to be able to jump off the 27 meter.
27.
So I'm sitting in the boat just like crapping myself. Like I have to do it. Like I can't just bail, you know? And then you're across from me and you're like, yeah, I've done I think it was 27 meter before. I'm like, what? I didn't know if I was supposed to believe this dude in front of me. Like, who is this guy? And then you bust out this video of you just absolutely sending it off. Where was that at? In Greece?
That was in Austria. It's the lake is called the Wolfgangsee, and the Red Bull actually had done a Red Bull Cliff Championships jumps there before.
Yeah, so you show me this video. I'm like, oh my gosh, this dude is freaking. He's gonna jump, so I have to jump. Like if one person jumps, I have to go. You know?
Yeah, that's what you said. You're like, man, if you go, I definitely have to go.
Yeah, so that just makes me more nervous. Like I can't bail. Unfortunately, they didn't let us jump because of liability. We probably would have like broke our neck or something.
Yeah, that would have been the day we messed up.
Yeah, that would have been the day. But yeah, they let us do the 12 meter. I sent a gainer off of it, and then you're like, what the heck? All right.
Dude, you totally set the stage. You set me up, man. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just do a little pencil dive, you know, like I haven't jumped in a while. And you just straight up threw a gainer. I'm like, oh man, dude, I can't let him just go out like that. I got to follow up.
It's our ego, man. Like,
yeah, that's so funny.
Just chase after with that gainer.
I'm so glad you threw it though, because it was, it made me do it and it got me, you know, broke down my comfort zone. And I'm so glad you did. And from then it was just like, dude, we were just laughing, joking. We were on the same boats, partying, dancing. And the one thing I love about Carson is dude, your dance moves are epic, and you just throw the Michael Jackson down like nothing.
And then Michael Jackson.
Oh, dude, you always get down on. And then there's that dance that got really famous in the Philippines, and you always do that. You're just a really good time, and we just hit it off instantly. It was like instant bromance.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, just a bit about, you know, who are you? I mean, I personally know you, but who are you? And actually, I would like to a little bit know more about you. And I hope that we get to uncover that. You know, who are you? Where are you from? Where do you live? You know, kind of what are you doing? Just so kind of everyone can kind of further connect with you.
Yeah, for sure. My name's Carson Moody. I'm from Utah, USA. 27. It's kind of freaking me out.
Just turned, right?
Yeah, just turned 27.
Happy belated.
Thank you. But yeah, man, I've been traveling full time in the Philippines for the last 2 years, making video blogs, whatever you want to call them.
Both,
yeah, exactly. So I don't know, I'm just a simple guy, you know, just trying to do whatever makes me happy, and that's where I am right now, just kind of traveling. And
something I really admire about you in general is because I see it's so much what I want. You know, like you said, you are very simple, super incredibly humble and just down to earth. And, you know, you don't have all the extremities of like life's material items. You know, you don't own a car, you don't own a home, you don't have all these nice things that people call as, you know, what they call nice. And you just are simple, and I mean, you can see it when you meet you. When I met you, you can tell that you're just living the life that you love. It's just written all over you, and people are drawn to that. And you can tell it's truly, and you can tell in your videos, man, like your videos you're just living your life. You're not trying to impress anybody. You're just recording your life. And that's what's so cool about your videos.
Exactly. That's what I enjoy about the vlogs. You know, nothing staged. I'm just recording. It's more like reality TV, because I don't really like, you know, that kind of fake stuff, or even like acting. I don't know. I don't even know how to do all that stuff. So I just press record.
I wouldn't be surprised though if you got an acting gig just because of who you are. Like, it would not surprise me, to be honest.
I don't know how well that would go, but
So where are you exactly right now during the lockdown? Like, where have you been quarantined at?
I'm in a little city called Dumaguete. It's in the Visayas region.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a chill city where most foreigners come to retire. It's been, I think, voted the number one like retirement place in the Philippines. So yeah, it's pretty chill. Thank goodness I'm not in Manila or Cebu, like the really concentrated cities, because I think that those will be on lockdown for much longer because of the amount of people and the amount of cases of COVID-19, you know?
Yeah.
So luckily, I think we'll be set free before the
Now,
rest of the.
for a lot of people that don't know the Philippines, and I'm sure they do have, I think, top 5, or they have 5 in the top 10 best beaches in the world. So it is a place that people should put on the list. It's like
For
no
sure.
brainer. But what is Can you explain what the Visayas is so people can understand like what area of the Philippines you're at?
Yeah, so the Philippines has 3 regions, so Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So Luzon is the northern part of the Philippines, so it includes like the big city Manila.
Mm-hmm.
Visayas is the central part of the Philippines, and Mindanao is the southern. So basically, I'm just in the central region.
Is there more islands that are like beachy and kind of resorty in that area, like more chill?
Yeah, I feel like most of the tourist spots that people go to are in Visayas because
Mm-hmm.
people are scared of Mindanao because of martial law, and then there's been a history of like a lot of war going on.
Right.
So people are scared to go to Mindanao and then Luzon. There's some good tourist spots, but people just think of Manila when you think of Luzon. So
for sure.
most tourist spots for sure, are like in Visayas, I feel like.
Is that like El Nido and Coron? Is that considered Visayas?
It's a little island off of all the mainland. It's still part of Luzon. So yeah, that's not part of Visayas. Visayas is like Cebu and Bohol. Like
Yeah,
all
Bohol,
those,
Bohol's beautiful. The Chocolate Mountains.
so good.
So how did you when did this the how, the why, the what, like how did this happen from Utah boy to just full-time Philippines traveler? How did that even happen?
Dude, just straight up, just kind of just fell into it, you know. So in 2012, so my religion is LDS, like Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, and
Okay.
majority of us, we choose to go on like a service mission for our church.
Yeah.
So I did that for 2 years in 2012 to 14, and I was assigned in Bacolod, which is Visayas as well. So that's where I learned how to speak Ilonggo and Bisaya, the 2 local dialects. So I got fluent at the language, served my mission, went home. And then I came back a few years later, just traveling, just backpacking. It was my first solo backpacking trip in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I came across some friends in Siargao. And they're like, dude, why don't you make videos? Like, it's not very common that a foreigner speaks Bisaya. And so I was like, maybe. I've never considered like vlogging before, honestly. So I went home, wasn't really doing much. And then I was working at a call center because I just graduated college. So after I graduated, I bought my first camera and then decided to try out vlogging. And then just kind of been doing that for 2 years since.
Yeah, man, so rad. I mean, you're all really good at it. And I can, even just from when I first met you and started following your story and even seeing your videos now, it's totally evolved, and you've definitely grown into your persona and who you are. And you've definitely and you've stayed very true to who you are. So your videos are awesome. And man, if you guys got to go see his videos, they're so good and funny. And you're always doing something. What I really like is like, you're always doing something for the people, you know, like giving recognition to the people, and you're trying to incorporate the culture and show the beauty inside of them. And that's what's really cool. You know, you're not really doing it to become famous. You're actually really doing it from my perspective to really enhance like what the Philippines culture is and show people like who they are.
Yeah, exactly. My videos are more focused on like the people.
Yeah.
I mean, the Philippines has so much beauty, and I do travel vlogs, but even when I'm traveling, I like to focus more on like the people, you know, just my relationship with people I meet.
For
Because
sure.
that really is the reason why I stayed and keep coming back to the Philippines.
Yeah.
It's super cliche. Everyone you talk to that comes to the Philippines says like, the Filipinos are my favorite. But it's true. Like, they're great people, you know?
They are.
If they weren't as warm and as friendly and as fun as they are, like, I probably wouldn't be here as long as I have, you know?
Yeah, some of my favorite stories have been about going there just randomly before I moved there. And it's like my favorite stories is I flew to Cebu. It was my first time in the Philippines, and I ended up in these random families' home drinking fundador, and like it's like the aunt's birthday, and we're partying, and I'm just like with all these strangers, and I'm just like that had just invited me in, and I missed my flight home the next day. But it was like the best time.
That's so Filipino, right? Like, they're just inviting you to their house. Like, they have no idea who you are. They're just feeding you.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, so amazing, man. So like, what's been really what's been keeping you there? What's driving the business, because it is kind of a business at this point, you know, with the vlogging and the blog, and I think the upcoming blogging as well. And you know, you're doing them together. Like, how is that still being progressed? And you know, how do you see it continuing to go for you?
At the current situation, it's slowed down, obviously, because my niche is travel. Like I said, even though it's travel, it's focused on a lot of the people, but I can't really go outside and vlog on a lot of people. So we've been doing a few sit down videos to keep the vlogs going, but like I do not enjoy those at all. So I do like one a week. Not very motivated on that. Like I said, I do stuff that I enjoy doing, and if I don't enjoy it, then I'm not motivated. But we're working on other projects. I've been really enjoying like photography, so I'm getting more into that and taking advantage of this time. But as of the vlog, it's kind of just chill right now. Like nothing to, what can you do during quarantine? But
I know that like travel is your life, and a lot of it's been in the Philippines. How much have you traveled? Like, I always like to ask how many countries have people been to? And I know there's 7,000 islands in the Philippines, so that's more than the countries in the world tenfold. So, you've probably been to more islands in the Philippines than you probably have countries, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would say for sure.
Yeah. If you could give a number, how many islands do you think you've done?
I'm not sure. I think I calculated the provinces. There's something around 30 or something like that. But the thing is, like, one province can have 10 islands,
Oh my God.
It's tough to say how many islands.
So you've done 30 provinces.
Yeah, the goal in the Philippines is to go to every province. There's 81. The problem is some of those are very dangerous for a foreigner to go to. Like, you might get your head cut off. But it's the goal, you gotta find a way eventually. But those will be the last on the list. Definitely make that
So you've done 30.
Something like that, yeah.
Jeez.
I haven't calculated in a while, but.
And something you said just earlier about, you spoke two dialects, and you started picking up in 2013, 2014 when you were there?
12 to 14, yeah.
12 to 14. I mean, okay, now I don't know if people vary here Tagalog very much, but now the Philippines has so many different dialogues. Like, you think Filipino, they have one language? No. They have, like, if I can compare it to, I mean, I don't even know how to say it, like the states, every state would have a different dialect. And
every state would have two.
Yeah. And so, and they're all influenced by, it's Malaysian, it's Indonesian, it's American. They have so much influence in their language. And so how the heck did you not only pick up one, but you picked up two?
It blows my mind how many languages are here. Like I said, on my mission, I was assigned to the island I'm on right now, actually. It's called Negros Island. But I was only assigned the northern half, so the top half. And that half, has two languages itself. So that's why I picked them up, because one day you're speaking Ilonggo and the next day you're speaking Cebuano. Like, the thing is, like, a lot of the languages, they have a lot of similarities, but that's what makes it even harder sometimes. Like, example, in Ilonggo, karon means later, but in Cebuano, it means now.
What?
So it's super confusing.
Oh my God.
Or another example, if you say libog in Cebuano, that means confused. And if you say libog in Tagalog, it means you're aroused.
Oh my God. That is crazy.
Very confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I worked there, you would have people that I worked with from different areas of the Philippines, different provinces, and they wouldn't even understand each other. Their dialects, they'd be like, I don't know what they're saying. There's different dialects.
Dude, exactly.
And what's awesome is this is what the culture seriously loves about you, because it is so legit and so fluent that you literally sound like you were born there. Even when I hear your videos still, I'm like, dude, this guy's crazy. Like, it's so good. Because Carson's like, okay, don't take this wrong, but he's like the epitome of like he's the white boy surfer. Like, he waves all day long. That's all he does is shreds waves or skates. And then he starts speaking this fluent Tagalog, and you're like, dude, you're not American. So funny.
Yeah, that was definitely the thing that set me apart when I started vlogging, obviously, speaking.
Yeah.
Bisaya, so.
Yeah, they've really taken to you on that. Now, I think this is even funnier. So when I met Carson, he was with his his lady that he's with now and still with, and she travels with him, and they both have this amazing little journey that they're on. And I'm definitely going to ask you a little bit more about that later. But what's funny is she's half Filipino, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's half Filipino, born in Philippines or born in Australia?
She was born in the Philippines and then moved to Australia when she was 5.
Yeah, and she doesn't speak. At the beginning, she barely speak any, I think, if none. And Carson spoke fluent.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like, our vlog has kind of turned towards like some Filipino love team, because the white guy teaching the Filipino how to speak her own language. So
I know, I love it. It's so good. And you know what, dude, these two are so awesome together. And you would think, and this is something I'm definitely going to get into, is people think about you really learn something about someone when you travel with them, and you really realize how they can fit into your life, whether that's a friend or definitely a partner. And man, you two just crush it, and you two just keep going. The videos you put out, and everyone supports you guys, your little love story. It's so so awesome to see.
Yeah, man. So much props to Zoe because like she just got thrown into this lifestyle, you know.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of went with how I've been my whole life, and then she just flipped a 180 and just like is just doing all this stuff. So it's so cool to see her, and you'll
Yeah.
probably talk to her in the future, and she'll tell you all about it. But
No, I definitely, yeah, as we discussed, I'm definitely gonna have her on the show. She has definitely her own story. The two of you have such an amazing story that I couldn't put you on the same show. We'd be on the phone for 5 hours. So yeah, it's so cool. I'm super excited to talk to her too. But yeah, your guys' story is great, and I definitely want to understand some questions about how you guys do it as a partner to help people like get through that. You know, that's an awesome, powerful story for people to understand to travel with their partner.
yeah, for sure.
Now, if you could, if this probably is a hard question, do you have a favorite spot in PH? I don't want you to get judgment from people there, but like, do you have one?
I get that all the time. For me, dude, like it's so hard because obviously I love change. I hate like,
yeah, me too.
the same thing, right? So the thing is, I would say honestly, Siargao was my favorite. For when I first went there, like blew my mind because it was so low key. There's surf there, there's waterfalls, there's rock pool, there's everything there. And it wasn't touristy yet, so like it was so good. And then obviously social media, and you know I'm doing the same thing that I hate. I hate when spots get exposed, but that's what I'm doing is exposing spots.
Yeah.
But anyways, you know, years pass and now it's like very popular. So it's still such a great island, but it's not the same as it was in 17. And so I would say Siargao was my favorite. Now I would say I'm not sure. It's definitely up there for me, but I would say I don't have a number one right now.
You've got 50 provinces to go. It'll find its way into you.
Yeah, for sure.
So you said when you first left, you were what, 17 when you first left? Was that the first time you left USA?
So I was 19 when I first left.
19.
And I mean, I went on a cruise like a month before I left. So, I mean, technically I went out of the States, you know. But yeah, that was my first like real time leaving the country. So
I'm definitely going to ask you some more stuff about that because that's like leaving at such a young age. That was 7 years before I ever left. And so leaving at that young age, you still don't even really have an idea about life. You're still trying to figure out who the heck you are.
Such a growing opportunity. Like, yeah, some 19-year-old gets thrown into the Philippines, into the mountains where he has no idea what the heck is being spoken, you know? Like,
yeah,
that was a wild time. I'll be honest, I did not enjoy the Philippines my first 3 months.
No.
Culture shock, bro. Like, everyone's, because the thing is, before I left on my mission, they put us into, it's called MTC, Missionary Training Center, where they teach us the local language. So they taught us for 2 months, and I learned the language Ilonggo, right?
Okay.
For 2 months, and then they sent us to the Philippines. But my first area was Bisaya or Cebuano. So like, I spent 2 months learning the wrong language. So it was already like chapped, like what the heck is going on here, you know? And then there was no toilet paper where I was at my first like month.
Man.
I was like, it was rough, man. But
hey, now we don't have toilet paper now, so what's the difference?
Exactly. I've been preparing for 2020, bro. Ain't no thing for me.
Early.
But yeah, man, I would say after like 6 months is where I started falling in love with it. Obviously I wasn't traveling and going to these nice places, so it was different for me. People can fall in love with the Philippines their first day, you know, like seeing beauty. And I love the Filipinos. I was just in like just a different situation, you know, like trying to speak to everyone. No one was speaking English back. It was a wild trip, but obviously I fell in love with the Philippines and I'm still here for 4 years. So
I can say that it would be a totally different experience for me. Manila is dense. It is a dense city. If you haven't been there, it's just super, super dense. So being outside of that for you, it's totally different perspective and different appreciation for the culture, the islands, the everything. I'm sure it'd be much different, you know. Now, when was your last?
That's why I love the province life, because that's what I got thrown into, you know. Like, I just love that raw Filipino, like people living in the huts. I've never been like a city guy. When I go to Manila, I did not care for that, you know. Straight up the province, man.
I know when you were from there for a short time, you were just like, yeah, I don't even know if I want to come see you. It's so there, and it makes sense, you know. I get it. I didn't take it personal, but I sensed it. You're like, oh God, I don't know if I want to go there.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I wanted a city, you know, I would just stay in the States.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, not to hate on Manila or anything. It's just city in general.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
I get it.
I'm just not a city.
I've lived in Bali, and so I totally get it. I totally get it. When was the last trip you and Zoe had?
Siargao, actually. We were in Siargao for 2 weeks, and then we came to Negros, and our intentions were to do a 1 month road trip around this island. And then Dumaguete was the first spot we started, and then it was already locked down, so we kind of got stuck in our first spot.
Oh wow! So this happened right when you went to take a trip.
Yep.
Since this lockdown, has it impacted any of your current travel plans or anything like coming up?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were planning on, so we were going to do that 1 month. And then right now at the end of April, actually, we were planning on going to Indonesia.
Mhm.
We've never been there. So we were going to do East Java for like a week or two and then do Bali for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Because actually Red Bull cliff diving was supposed to be a couple weeks ago. So we were
Oh.
going back to watch that. Obviously that got canceled.
So how long, what has been the total time you've been in lockdown, and how strict has it been there?
Definitely over 2 months. Because the
Wow.
thing is, it's been on official lockdown probably about 2 months.
Yeah.
But me and Zoe put ourselves in lockdown 2 weeks before.
Yeah, good.
Because we're in a city and it is more dense and we didn't want to get corona. So we self-quarantine ourselves. So it's definitely been around like 60, 70 days.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, like I said, it's pretty strict here, which is, I mean, it's good, you know, like keeping everyone safe. But we can only leave our hotel if we have to get groceries. And they give us a pass. So we can only leave on like a Wednesday and Saturday between 1 and 4 p.m. kind of thing.
That's what's kind of funny. And your parents are here, right? Like your family's here. And so so many people are complaining about the lockdown, but this is nothing compared to what you're going through and what Darcy in my last episode went through in China. Like it's full lockdown. You cannot leave. You need a pass to leave your home.
That's what I'm seeing, bro. On like Instagram, everyone's like free roam in the States. Like, going hiking every day. I'm like, are you kidding me? I would die for that right now. Like, just let me leave my hotel room, you know?
You know, I really like to understand your perspective, especially this will help so many people, I think, in their life, because you're especially someone that roams freely so much. How have you and Zoe overcome this lockdown struggle? And, you know, a lot of people around the world are facing it and having a very hard time with it still. And even with the possible upcoming of a release, they're still struggling. So how can we like, you know, help some people with your perspectives, and how have you guys dealt with it?
For us, it's taking advantage of this time because we are always on the go. We never have time to really focus on new projects and like other things. So for my first month, I purchased 2 online photography courses. So every day, like I was so into that, like wake up and I just put in the headphones and just go at it. So I was loving that. I honestly didn't really care that we couldn't go outside. So yeah, I'm really getting into photography now. So that was really fun to learn and take these courses. Within the last couple of weeks now, I'm starting to go stir crazy, you know, because my courses are done. So I got to find something else to keep me busy. So I would say find something like to keep you busy and that you actually enjoy doing. We're working on these new projects to be announced. So like just using your time wisely. And
yeah, so a friend of mine, Darcy, that was on the last episode, she had been in China in full lockdown, and she had a really hard time at the beginning because she's just like you, surfer, always on the go, always moving out with people. And then she started to overcome that with exactly what you said, being productive with stuff that can actually make her better, things that she actually enjoys. And, you know, she had shared how this is a perfect time that we can start setting up great habits and setting up things for ourselves for when our life gets back to normal that we wouldn't normally have time to do. Just as you said, have the things that are already ready for when this happens, that we're already ingrained those habits into our system. You know, we're already living that life.
Exactly. Like such a crazy time that the world just stops, you know, like this is never going to happen again, hopefully. But
yeah, hopefully.
Like such good time to work on things if you can, and you don't feel guilty about it, you know?
Yeah, like, you shouldn't.
Like before you might feel guilty that you're just spending all this time, and I don't know, but we have all the time in the world. So
yeah, so I heard that the lockdown might end in like 6 days. Is that still going to happen?
Here in the Philippines?
Yeah. Like the 14th or 15th. It was a rumor. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, dude. I have no idea. Like I said, I thought lockdown was pretty much over a few days ago until they announced that, all right, we're going back into enhanced quarantine because no one's social distancing, etc. So I feel like it'll be a while, yeah, especially Manila and Cebu, like the big cities. I feel like they're going to be in lockdown for a while unless they just lift it and it's like, all right.
Just run an experiment and see what happens.
Yeah, who knows? But
what do you think the first thing you're going to do is when you and Zoe get out?
Dude, we're going to hop in that car that we have because we had a rental for our road trip and we're just going to cruise, like get out of here.
Now, how is the local Philippine media portraying traveling in the future or any of that? Like, is it scary? Is it being accepted? Is there any perspective on that? And what's your perspective actually?
So the Philippines, I feel like I honestly haven't seen much media. Well, I don't really see any media over here anyway.
Right.
I mean, just what you see on Instagram, but that's more of like what I see in the States. But I don't know. I haven't really seen anything about like traveling or tourism, like how that's going to be affected.
Yeah. I'm interested because, you know, my friend Tanai that was on the 3rd episode, she was telling me that people were like the locals were showing at the airports at the beginning of the quarantine and barricading people from coming out of the airport. Like, turn around and go back to your own country, like or back to your own state or home. Quit bringing your stuff here. So just curious
Yeah.
how it was
Huh.
perceived there.
So, and actually, now that you said that, Shargal, I think I saw on Instagram that Shargal was going to open their borders so people can come in, and everyone's furious over there because like they've been in such strict lockdown. They're going crazy, right? And then they're just going to open the borders for everyone to come in and like start spread the virus that everyone says.
Yeah. No
So,
kidding.
so yeah, everyone in Shargal is not welcoming to it, which makes sense because they spent so much time like keeping it out. And then
What's your perspective on traveling post-COVID? Like, we don't really know. We can't look back at pre-COVID because that's for sure gone, and we don't know what post-COVID looks like because that's just a figment of our imagination. What is what's your perspective and perception on how traveling is for you? Like, is it something that will change how you travel? How are you viewing the future of travel?
It's an interesting question. I'm obviously going to be a lot more sanitary. I
Yeah.
feel like everyone's gonna be so scarred, like touching hands and stuff. And the thing in the Philippines, everyone's so touchy and love high fives and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just look like a total jerk now because I'm gonna be like, nope, just pound it or something.
Just elbows.
Just elbows. But what I'm hoping for is once everywhere's cleared up with the Rona, is that there's just some cheap flights, because like the industry is gonna be hurting and they're gonna need some people traveling. Obviously, we're going to take advantage of that, hopefully, and just travel to places we've always wanted to go that were too expensive. But who knows how long that'll be before like everywhere's cleared, like that's what's crazy is like you never know
so
when
unknown. I think that's what really is bothering people is the fact of the unknown, because people don't really know how to deal with the unknown. It has a lot of uncertainty, and something that I think is really amazing about your life, I wouldn't say as much as mine as part as yours, but I definitely feel the same, is that we're not really afraid of the uncertainty and the unknown. It actually is a little bit invigorating and inspiring to get out there and feel the unknown. It actually what makes you a better person. It makes you kind of more enlightened. But I think a lot of times people are afraid of the unknown, and that's what we're at right now. And it's just such a big unknown. There's no certainty in anything, and I think that's what really bothers people. This is just my opinion.
No, it makes total sense. And yeah, like you said, dude, like we're the same. Like I'm not worried about the unknown.
Yeah,
like we're such a ride the wave of life kind of people, like whatever happens, and I'm in a good position where like I'm not worried.
I'll figure it out when it happens.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's nothing you can do. Like why worry about it now? There's people in worse positions that have bigger worries than I do. So like I feel for them, but for me in the position I'm in, like I'm not too worried with the future. Kind of
I feel you.
Go with the flow.
With all your travel in the Philippines, and I know there's more of it's been there, do you have a bucket list? A lot of people have them, a lot of people don't. Some people think they're kind of crap. but do you have one? And if you do, what is the top place that you want to still visit that you haven't been to?
Specifically the Philippines?
Anywhere, anything in the world.
Ooh, in the world. So Philippines, I would say the bucket list is to visit 81 provinces, like I said.
Yeah.
But that's not my priority to get that done before I see more of the world,
Yeah, sure.
I'm starting to itch to see some more places in the world. Obviously, still be based here in the Philippines, but I would love to see like some new places. So I don't really have like a specific list written out. For some reason, I've had some weird craving to go to Southern Africa.
Oh, dude, I want to go there so bad.
Even like Johannesburg. What is it?
Yes, Johannesburg.
Like, yeah, some weird, like that's what I was looking at. Like, that's what I was hoping, like cheap flights here in the future, because it's more expensive. Madagascar, exactly. Like these places would be sick. I don't have like a legit list. I'm not a planner, so
sure.
Whatever pulls up.
Yeah, that's why I said some people have them, some people don't. Mine growing up was because I'd been infatuated with Egypt since I was 10, since about like the Egyptian life. And so like going to see the pyramids was like it for me, That's how I always curious. Some people have them and some people don't. And that's why it's always interesting to find out. From the place that you've been, and let's stick more to the Philippines so people can start to learning a bit more, but what has been a place there that's completely like really, really captivated you? Like the place that you frequent often.
Here in the Philippines?
Yeah. If there is one.
I mean, the place that I've been to the most, Siargao, honestly.
I haven't been there. Dang it.
Dude, you got to go. Like, the sooner the better. Like I said, it keeps changing every time I go, because it keeps getting more and more developed. So the sooner you can go, like, definitely hit it up. The first time I went there, it was before it was blown up. So all my Filipino friends from Visayas, they told me not to go because it's part of Mindanao. And everyone associates Mindanao with terrorism because there are some like terrorist groups.
Yeah.
But it's so far away from all that. It's it's basically part of Visayas. Like some people think it is part of Visayas. It's not, but people just think it is. So it's so safe. And I almost didn't go because my friends in the Philippines were convincing me that it's dangerous. Luckily I went, so I didn't really have expectations. I just went and it's so good.
I love hearing those stories about when you go somewhere and you have this expectation because people, I don't know, they read it, they heard it, they saw it from their friends, second cousins, third aunt, and then you go there and you're like, that was not even close to the truth.
Dude, that is the thing. Like you cannot go in with these high expectations. Like just going with no expectations at all, just be so much better experience, you know, like
Zero
that's what's hard.
expectations.
Like Instagram, people travel because of Instagram. People want to go and get that same shot or
Yeah.
just visit, and then it's just way different in person. So when people have expectations, it just, for the most part, it just kind of dampers the
That's
moment.
what I try and share with people about Bali because I live there and that's my favorite place. And I mean, I love it. And you can go there and be like, oh my God, it's like dirty, or, you know, sometimes there's trash on the beach because, you know, it's not taken care of well. And I'm not trying to downplay Bali because it is my favorite place. But you get there and you're like, well, this is kind of not what I expected.
Exactly.
It
all
can be,
comes
not
up to
always.
expectations.
Yeah, exactly. You put this like persona into your mind and then you're hoping, and then you get there because you've had this expectation, and then you get let down and then you're like, oh. But if you go with no expectations, you don't really, you're just like, no, you're just excited. Yeah.
And then if it's nice, like it can blow you away because you did not expect that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. What is the most random place? Like not normal. It's not the normal travel place that you've been.
I would say Dinagat Islands. It's actually Siargao's like neighboring island right next to it, west of Siargao. A friend I met on Siargao, she's from that island, and she told me it was beautiful like years ago. And so me and Zoe decided to go visit it. Like we haven't heard of anyone that's ever been to that island.
Yeah,
We've heard of we heard of a vlogger that tried to go there, and they said that they're like, do not go there. The locals do not want you to go. It's a cult. Like straight up said like they were denied. They said, you're not going to be welcomed if you come here. So like I was nervous. I didn't go there that year. We didn't end up going until the next year when Zoe was traveling with me. We freaking balls to the walls and went. And they were like literally the nicest people I've ever met. And that's saying something because we're in the Philippines, you know, like everyone's nice. Yeah. But they were so good, bro. And the weirdest thing is I would say we kind of did it wrong. I mean, there's no right or wrong, but the first place we went was just the most non-tourist place. When we rolled up, there was nothing at all at this place. Like we went on we rode the wrong boat because the island has some nice tourist spots. We went on the wrong boat that went to just like the local towns, and all there was like one school, like one high school, one hospital. What we did for the whole day, like Zoe, we went to the high school and Zoe taught English class for a day, and it's hilarious because she's Australian and all these Filipinos are having a hard time understanding her. Yeah. But she's teaching them like how to speak Australian, so it was pretty funny. And then the next day we actually found the good spots, or the tourist spots, I should say, like the beautiful landscapes.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
But that was probably the most random trip we've ever done in the Philippines for sure.
For what was so captivating about that place? Was it the landscapes once you saw it? Was it the people? What made it so refreshing for you?
It was just the most memorable because like we went to a place with nothing to do, but we just made it fun. You know, like we went to the high school and Zoe taught, and then the kids were showing us around like little cliffs to jump off of, and just such a local life. And just the fact that we had no expectations, and then we actually had low expectations because they said it was a cult and terrible people, but they're like the greatest people ever, you know? So it was just a good time with the locals pretty much. Like we didn't focus on like the landscape. We did a few days later because I had beautiful landscapes to enjoy, but that first day, man, it was just super random.
Now, I've been on some seriously long transit times. Have you ever had a really long transit time? Like what is like the longest from point A to point B?
I would say 52 hours.
Oh my, you got me beat by 4.
Dude,
wow.
So I had to travel back to the States, and
oh my God.
Me, I'm a frugal guy. Like I'm a cheap guy. I like to travel cheap. So I took the cheapest flight and didn't realize how bad this was going to suck. So I went from the Philippines, I flew to China, had a 4-hour layover. From China, I flew to another town in China, and I was stuck in there for 19 hours. And they wouldn't let us leave the airport because you have to have a visa, I guess. Yeah. So I was just literally just sat there in the airport for 19 hours, and then flew to California. From California, I flew to Utah, but it was such an insane transit time. Like, never do that again, like just to save a few pennies. Like that sucked.
That's, you know, because that actually usually is the thing. You know, a lot of people would rather just pay more money. And when I'm traveling, like I usually do, I'm the same as you. Like I'm trying to find the bargain, you know, because I don't have a
Yeah.
time frame. So I'm trying to find the bargain, and I've had some bad ones. So I know it can be a bit like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do that again.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience, good memories. I'm glad it's done. I probably won't do it again. Yeah, sometimes you just got to take your losses, and sometimes you got to go cheap. Like
Yeah.
you got to find balance.
Now, with as much as you and Zoe have started traveling together, this is something that I'm always very curious about, because I've never really traveled with a partner. And, a lot of people that I've chatted with really love traveling alone. And I can
Mhm.
tell that you two really love traveling together. And obviously, you really loved traveling alone before, but you've
Mhm.
really adopted loving traveling with. Like, how do you guys really keep it together? Like, what motivates you guys? What drives you guys? Help, man, some people could really learn some tips from you guys. So, like, I would love to hear how you guys do it.
Man,
What's the key?
what's the key to this, dude? I mean, one, I would say luck. Like, it's a miracle that we don't kill each other, because we're literally with each other for 24 hours. Like, that ain't easy to do, even with your best friend.
No,
Like
exactly.
being with someone. Like, the only time I'm not with her is when I'm like in the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's what's amazing, that we're able to do this. Like, that's what like makes me feel good about being with Zoe, and the fact that I
Right.
can be with someone for 24 hours and not go crazy.
Well, she's your
So
best. I
one, I
mean,
would
literally, you
say,
can tell she's your
I
best
mean, I'm
friend.
super blessed and lucky to have Zoe, like, for like that compatible. One thing that's huge is I noticed we're like extra good, like when we're busy, like
Yeah.
when we're vlogging a lot and traveling, like when we're on the go, we're solid, man. And just like every other couple, like we have more arguments when we stay put, and we're just
Yeah.
either we're stuck in Manila City because she has work and we're just stuck there, or during quarantine for 2 months, like you're bound to have a few arguments. That's huge. Like, the fact that we're always on the go, like we're pretty good and not arguing. And I think that's a huge thing. Just the fact that we keep vlogging, we're traveling. That's something we enjoy doing. So
From my
I'm
perspective,
not,
and knowing the
I'm
both of
not
you,
super good at giving relationship advice, because this is my first real relationship.
from what I've noticed and getting to know you both, both have your own journey within this journey together. Like, Zoe does the modeling, and she does like the kind of the TV stuff and the other things that she's doing. And then she's also doing like the vlogging with you, where you have your whole vlogging and your photography and all that stuff. And you've
Yeah.
melted this companionship together between both of your journeys. You support each other fully. Like, I love how much you take photographs of her, and like you promote her. Now you're totally building up her journey, and she's totally like your super queen that's supporting your journey. And it's like, it's so cool to see you guys, how you do it. It's very unique.
It's kind of a give and take. Like, she's sacrificed a lot for me, and I do my best to sacrifice for her and make things work. It's such a good companionship, like you said, where we just kind of complement each other. I help her growth, she helps my growth. If we're talking business standpoint, just even in relationship, But
Yeah.
yeah, man, like super good.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, being from the outside, it's super unique. I'm totally in awe of it. It's really awesome. You guys are great. So, with all like the blogging that you're doing and everything else, do you journal still while you travel? Do you journal at all, like handwrite, phone, or is your vlogging your journaling?
Yeah, I would say the vlogging is the most journal I have right
Yeah,
now.
it's pretty
When I
epic.
was a missionary, I was like good at journaling, dude, like every single day. And I regret that I didn't continue it, because it's so good to look back on.
Yeah.
But the vlogs are so good to look back, because I forget, at least those days I recorded, it's like, oh, I totally forgot that dude existed or that thing happened. So that's what I love, having the videos, is at least a journal somewhat.
It's a total journey. I was watching the podcast of Joe Rogan that he had on Elon Musk just yesterday, and Elon Musk said that video is far better than any memory we could ever have. It tells the exact story, exactly how it went. I mean, so you're having the best journal ever. I just started journaling in the last time I went to South America, but you're right.
Nice.
It is crucial to do. I suggest it to everyone.
But yeah, you got to respect those daily vloggers. They have their whole lives video recorded.
What are some of the best spots in the Philippines that might not be okay? Now, I know, like you said this before, you're not trying to ruin, the key spots, but what are some not so average spots it's not the Cebu, it's not the El Nido, the Coron. What is like some spots
Mhm.
that you can still it won't ruin for travelers, but like, hey man, this is a spot you should check out. I thought like Batangas is one that people should check out, and
Yeah, I've
Siargao.
never been, but I heard that's pretty sick. Basically, you can find so many like hidden gems on any island if you spend enough time on it, you know, like
Yeah.
Cebu is so famous and so like you go to Kawasan and it's just sardines of people. But there's so many waterfalls there that you can go there, and if you're by yourself, it's massive blue Gatorade water. So
Whoa.
like every island, if you spend enough time and do your research, you can find like the sickest places. Here on Negros, we only had a week of exploring in Dumaguete, where I'm at right now. We only had a week before we were locked down, but we found at least like 3 waterfalls that I've never even heard of before, and they're like so sick. So
Wow.
like Negros, like I'm excited to explore here more because this isn't really touristy. It's not really on the map compared to everything else.
Yeah.
And I've heard of some great waterfalls. So stay tuned. But I'm feeling Negros is going to be pretty sick for what I've seen so far.
Yeah, some of your last posts, like some of the last one you've been posting, I'm like, dude, whoa.
Yeah, those waterfalls, man.
Oh
Like,
man. Do you have any, since you are, I mean, you're the king of traveling Philippines, what are some tips and tricks that people can like prepare themselves for traveling PH? You know, like is it stuff they can bring, mindset? Is it, you know, language? Is it books? What is it? How can people make the best of traveling PH?
I would say number one, hopefully you can, or at least learn to drive a scooter. Driving a scooter in the Philippines, Southeast Asia, or anywhere, like it's a
Yes.
game changer. It's so good. You don't have to spend money on those expensive tours, and you get to go to those places that are
100%.
like less known, or and that's half the fun right there. Just cruising around, even like getting to your
Agreed.
destination. So fun. Like there's the risk you might like crash, but it's so much better if you can drive a scooter, and it saves you money. You don't have to pay someone to drive you around. So I would say
Yes.
number one, rent a scooter. It's cheap. It's like $6 a day. Number two, I would say download Maps.me. It's maps.me. Yeah, it's been so good in my travels, specifically in Southeast Asia. When I'm in the States, I don't see too much on it, possibly, but there's a lot of like hidden waterfalls that people put on it. So there's a lot of hidden spots on Maps.me, and then you don't need Wi-Fi. So that's
Whoa.
super good because a lot of the times I don't have signal, or I don't have, if I'm in a country, I don't have the SIM card too.
Right.
Like you download it when you have Wi-Fi. So you download the map in your hotel, and then you can just roam on your scooter, like I
That's
said,
cool.
and you just find these super sick spots. So, I mean, Google Maps, you can do the same, but sometimes that fails me.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
everyone's been saying Google Maps fails them in like places like that.
Yeah, so Maps.me has been super good. Although you have to be aware, sometimes Maps.me takes you on roads that are like the sketchiest roads ever, and you end up in a sticky situation. But for the majority, like it served me well.
Okay, do you have any bad run-ins with scooters? I've not personally had any accidents, but people I've had in Asia, like traveling, they're like, oh yeah, I can ride a scooter, and then it just
Oh,
falls apart quickly. Do you have any fall aparts?
so common, dude. Me, I've skid out twice. I've never fallen. Like I've bailed off the scooter and just ran on my feet, and my scooter took a toll. Like on loose gravel, you know.
Right,
That's me
yeah.
being dumb though on my semi-automatics, and I didn't realize there's a foot brake, so I'm just using the handbrake, which is I believe the front brake, so it just makes you skid out, like your back just whips around. But yeah, that happened to me twice, but I've never fallen on the ground, knock on wood.
Yeah, that's good.
Like never any bad accidents.
I have, yeah, knock
My
on wood,
scooter maybe took like a little bruise.
friends. I've had some friends. I just feel so bad. I feel like it's my fault. Like, well, I guess it kind of is. Like, it's my responsibility. Well, but you know what's funny is I've had some friends come over and they don't want to ride on the scooter with me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's probably
They don't trust you.
ego. Well, I'd guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just ego. 2 men on a scooter. But then they get a bike, and then it just falls.
Little butt to
apart.
nut.
Yeah. Oh man, the worst I've seen is 4 dudes on a scooter. It was pretty bad. That's real tight in there.
Were they in Asia?
Yeah, it was in Bali.
Heck yeah, dude.
But they weren't Indonesian. They were foreigners, which is funny.
Foreigners.
Yeah. Hey, when traveling PH, though, this is something I really always like asking is to protect the originality and the uniqueness of the place that we visit, you know, and coming to these places.
Mm-hmm.
How can people, myself included, because there's a lot I haven't seen, how can we ensure that we're protecting the uniqueness of these places when we visit, and whether that's sustainability stuff that we can do, like Darcy had said in the last episode, to bring water bottle, bring your own silverware on the plane, you know, don't use the hotel's toiletries, use your own. Like, is there some things in the Philippines, because I've seen it myself in Philippines, a lot of stuff is third world with first world amenities, and it's still not totally fully set up to handle stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that we can do to better preserve that country when we visit?
Oh man, I mean, when you say that, the only thing that comes to mind is that the same cliche stuff, you know, like bring your own water bottle. I've never been super good at that, to be honest, until I've been with Zoe. This is even just recently, like just getting my own water bottle flask. And I mean, that saves you money too, because you don't have to go buy water every time you're thirsty.
Right.
She's a lot better than I am, to be honest. Like she has her own tinsel. She brings around her own bamboo fork and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
that's good.
So
I need to get
she's
some.
definitely better than I am. I'm coming a ways though. You know, I'm learning. I'm doing better. I think a good thing that I'm also learning is a balance of, like I said, I'm a budget backpacker, right? But I used to be intense before, and I think there should still be a balance there. So with like locals, rather than trying to like haggle them for an extra 20 pesos off, give them that 20 pesos because they need that more than you do.
Exactly.
Although I hate getting scammed. So when I know they're scamming me, I'm not about hooking them up. When they're honest locals and stuff, I want to give them all I can and help them out.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of the principle behind it. I don't want them to think that they need to be scamming. But yeah, like I like to hook locals up and not try to
I'm the same. When I figured that out in
milk them
Bali,
for all they're worth.
was the same. I felt like, you know what, why am I trying to haggle down price to feel cool that I haggled them down with lower just because they needed to make a coin? You know, there is markup everywhere. Like, you think the Nikes that are sold in Foot Locker are really worth $200? No. Probably cost them $10 to make, and you're paying $200. So it's, yeah, I agree. I think that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Again, we shouldn't be ripped off.
That's been a big change. That's what I see myself now versus when I first started backpacking. Because when I first started, I wanted to see how cheap I could travel. That was my goal. Like, how much can I go a whole month spending this much money, you know? But now it's like, you know, I don't need to milk this local for 20 pesos. Like if it's 80 pesos and I give them 100, I don't need that 20 pesos back in change, you know, I'll just like keep the change versus before it's like, thank you for that 20 pesos, which is 40 cents. It's like, if I was in the States, I would say, throw that 40 cents away. Like, I don't want to carry change, you know?
Yeah. I posted that video of you the other day when you did the paper, rock, scissors challenge, and you went around giving people, and you were obviously wanting to lose, and you were giving 2,000 pesos to people, and 2,000 pesos in American money is what? I think it's $50.
Like $40.
Yeah. 50 bucks. And, you know, he was going around just giving away money to, you know, people that really needed it. And the one that I really liked that I caught was that farmer guy. And he works, I mean, probably 12 hours a day, if not more. Yeah. He gets paid 1 sack of rice. That's his payment. No money, none, nothing. Not even money. Yeah. No money. And, you know, so like these people, you got to understand what they go through to have the life that to barely hold on to the life that they have. So yeah, good point.
Oh, yeah. It's like the most humble situation or humble lifestyle, you know? The thing with that video, like I said, they're not like begging for money. They're working hard for their money. And these guys deserve like a little some, you know? So
yeah,
that's why I chose those certain people to hook up rather than like, and I understand some people need to beg for money, or I don't know if they need to. Like, I've seen some of the worst conditioned people still working hard for their money, you know? So that's why I chose those people that were working hard for that video, not so much just people that are begging for money, because they end up making more than those people working hard. And obviously people have different situations. Like, I can't judge their situation, but
I agree. I really like that video. It was cool that you did that. When you get going on the road, this is the section I like to call "What's Your Travel Ninja Essentials," because you are a travel ninja. This is, you know, very... Yeah, you are a travel ninja, and I'm sure you have some very key items, and you've basically narrowed it down to a science on how to keep it simple. And so you could definitely help me with some tips, you know? So like, what are your top 3 essential items that you always have to have?
I mean, that's tough because it depends how specific we get. Yeah, exactly. For me, the less you carry, the better. I bought a bigger backpack and I ended up carrying more because I had a bigger backpack, which is dumb. So I needed to go throw some stuff away next time I'm home. Like, first thing I'm going to say, buy a small backpack, because the bigger it is, you just have the tendency to fill it up, like when you don't need to, you know?
Exactly.
So buy a small backpack. But I mean, for men, it's easy or at least in Southeast Asia, it's warm here and I'm in the water all the time. So I just bring board shorts. There's no need to bring any other shorts, because it serves as normal shorts and it serves as swimsuit, you know? So packing light. Yeah, now that my income comes from vlogging, obviously I would say my camera, like you said, which sucks because my camera bag weighs way more than my backpack, my travel bag. It's so heavy.
Yeah, one more. Would you have one more that's like just a must? Is it your drone?
I mean, obvious one would be a passport, but we're not going to include that because that's too obvious. I would say my drone, yeah. I love my drone too much to leave that behind. I probably
Yeah,
like
for
droning more
sure.
than I like taking photos with my camera, to be honest.
What type of drone do you have? What type of drone do you use?
I just got the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. I crashed my Mavic 1 in the rice terraces in Banaue, Philippines. So I upgraded to the 2. All right, so here's a travel hack. This freaking saved me. So if you're in the States and you own a drone or camera equipment, which this is not sponsored, but go to State Farm Insurance. And if it's just a drone you want to insure, it's like $40 for the entire year. And then no questions asked. If you like get stolen, you lose it, you crash it into a mountain, like anything, they just straight up send you a check for how much you bought it for. Like it's the easiest process ever. Like I crashed my drone, I emailed them that I crashed it. I didn't have to like show any proof, and they just sent me a check to my house. And then I got to upgrade into the Mavic 2.
This is true because you told me this a year ago, and then you've stuck to the same story, and this blows my mind, but it's
Dude,
awesome
like,
information.
So good. My friend told me about it, and I was like, there's got to be some catch. Like, there's no way, like too good to be true. It usually is. But straight up, like, just get it. Like, you won't have any worries when you fly your drone. My first year, I hardly flew my drone because I was so scared of crashing it. I was like, if I crashed, that's like burning $1,000 right there. But then I got then I got the insurance, and I had no fear. I'm just like zooming past anything, bro.
Yes, it is good, and definitely you should do it if you're a droner and you can get the insurance. What type of? You said a DJI Mavic 2?
Yeah.
You're the second person that's been on the show that has that drone. That's awesome. What type of camera do you have? Essentially, I'm sure it's good. Actually, what was the first camera that you had when you started vlogging? What's the camera you have now?
The first camera when I started vlogging was a Sony A6300. It was probably honestly more than I even needed. If you're starting out, I would just say straight up get a Canon G7X. It's just a tiny vlog with a flip screen.
Yeah.
Like great quality, and it's light. The camera I have now, it's probably too much for vlogging by itself.
But you're going into
heavy.
photography, so it's
yeah, exactly. Like it's an investment for long term. Like I want to get more into the cinematics of video and photography. So I have the Sony A7 III with a few lenses. Like I said, it is so heavy. If you just want to vlog, just get a small like G7X. Zoe can't even hold up the camera when she vlogs with it. Like after 5 seconds, she's like, "All right, your turn." Like
yeah, that's
it's
funny.
heavy.
Do you have a specific backpack brand that you like to use?
Yeah, for the bag I use for traveling is an Osprey.
Yeah, that's what I have.
I think it's a 70 liter. Like I said, I probably could have gone smaller because then I'm just packing more. Yeah, my first backpacking trip, I traveled with a 40 liter. I traveled so light, like 3
light.
shirts, 3 board shorts, hardly anything. And that was so nice. Like I hate traveling with my bag now. So when I go home, I'm getting rid of so much stuff.
Okay, yeah, I have an Osprey too. It is a really good bag. I usually ask people if they have a sneaker choice or like a brand choice, but you wear flip flops everywhere. And
I'm Team Spartan, dude.
Yeah, dude, I'm just gonna get into that. So Carson got like known to be like he started this whole like Sparta persona with his flip flops, and it's the funniest shit because I love like catching it, and I love like when you comment on it and you have photos of you like as a Sparta, and you it's so. How did this start? This whole Spartan thing.
All right. Yeah, dude. So when I was traveling, and the flip-flops that I had for like a year or two were like getting really gross and broken. So I thought, I might invest in some new flip-flops. And so at the local market, I bought some for 50 pesos, which is like $1, US dollar.
Mm-hmm.
So cheap. Just like, I didn't think anything of it. I just bought whatever was there. It was cheap. I think they were blue, to be honest, like all blue. And then I go to some Halloween party in Bohol, and then the locals were like, "Nice Spartans, dude." Like everyone knew what they were. I'm like, how does everyone know what brand these are? These are just like $1, just like some crappy pair I bought. Like, yeah. So it turns out these are like the local flip-flop that every kid has when they're young because they're so cheap, but they won't break. Like they'll last you forever.
Oh, so they call them Spartans.
Yeah, just straight up a Spartan. And so I just been rocking it, and like all the locals love that I'm rocking it. So I kind of made it into a thing, that to kind of say how simple I am. Like I don't really need all these luxury clothes or anything. Like I have the same flip-flops for a year now, and just my Spartans, And so it kind of turned into a thing because Zoe started traveling with me, and she has the Havianas, which are like $40. I mean, they're probably more comfy, to be honest, but she refused to buy Spartans. One, she said they weren't good looking, and two, they are pretty rough when you first get them. It takes about a month to break them in. But so she was Team Javi, and I was Team Spartan.
Yeah, that is
like
so funny.
I just kept making fun of her in all the videos because her flip flops would always pop out, like the little thong part,
Yeah.
So I was like, Team Spartan wins again, baby, and like it just kind of became something. So who's Team Spartan? Who's Team Javi? So it's like if you're Team Spartan, that's like repping the hood, like this is what you guys grew up with. So I was always appalled when someone says they're Team Javi. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is your childhood. This is Team Spartan.
Yeah, that persona is funny. I really loved how that took off. It was so good. I loved following that. And I always love commenting on it with Team Sparta.
Yeah.
Hey, do you listen to any music while you're on the go? Like, do you have any like type of music that you choose as your like traveling music?
We listen to a lot more music when we have our car rentals, which is
not
super common because we usually do scooters. But like I said, right now we have a car rental. It's kind of just my old same tunes that I've been listening to for a while because I don't really hear new music out here. Kind of depends what we're in the mood for, Post Malone, I've been jamming to Post Malone lately. Khalid, I've been loving Khalid since 2017. So just like the same old stuff, But sometimes we're in that reggae mood.
All right. You had mentioned earlier MapMe. Do you have any key apps that you use? I've been learning so much about people's apps, and like I've gotten all these new apps on my phone now because people have hit me up with these awesome apps, which MapMe I'm going to get. Do you have other main apps that people could use to make their traveling a bit better?
For the most part, that's what I mainly use. To be honest, when I first was solo backpacking, I'm not a super extrovert, to be honest. Like I'm a situational extrovert. When I'm with people like I'm comfortable with, I can get all hyphy and I'll don't give a rip what people think about me. But but I'm not a guy that just throws myself out into a crowd if I don't know anyone. Like I can be kind of shy in that sense.
Right.
Well, when I first solo backpacked, I didn't really know how to meet people. So kind of sounds cheeky, but Tinder. When I first solo backpack, it was not the intent to hook up
people.
So this was straight up like I hung out with Tinder girls for the day, so my intentions aren't that I'm trying to hook up. So during that day, like I'd match, and then I'd have that local show me around that area because they know it better than anyone else.
Absolutely.
So I rent a scooter, we go cruising. So I mean that's kind of a hack, it's all within your intentions with Tinder.
Hey,
it has that negative.
Man, it's funny is that you saw Tinder as a way to explore and see. My buddy is starting an awesome blog about content, and he's writing all these amazing stories, and he's an amazing writer, and he's using Tinder to because you can pick different areas of the world that you want to be in. You don't have to pick where you're at, and he's picking different areas of the world. He's getting on Tinder, and he's told his girlfriend he does this, and he starts matching with all these people, and they're like, he's like, hey, do you like stories and like cool, and then he'll just like send people to blog, and he'll get people to follow his blog. So smart, and he's getting people. Genius. It's so smart. He's getting people from all over the world to follow his blog. Wow. Because he's connecting with people, and then he's sharing the blog, and then he'll just leave the city and like not talk to these people again. But then they're liking the stories, So smart,
dude. It's genius. That's what I tell Zoe. I learned something in psychology. I can't remember. It's like functional fixedness, where some people can like see things for like other purposes. Example, some people see a fork and think you can only eat with it. Some people see a fork and think you can open up a can with it.
Yes.
So it's the same principle. Like some people see Tinder and you can see it to explore or to get your like blog out, or people can just look at it for hooking up, like you got to be creative and you can use things for different purposes.
Yeah. I thought that was a really good idea. I think that's cool to use it that way. So yeah, MapMe, Tinder, and then anything else that you use regularly. Like do you have, come on, man. You have so many, all your videos and stuff. Do you have any cool stuff that you use that's like app wise that's not on your laptop?
I'm trying to think if there's anything. I know, to be honest, just the normal stuff. I just use YouTube and Instagram for inspiration. Usually Instagram for like location wise inspiration, like what kind of photos or where to go. But for the most part, I don't really use too many apps. I use my computer for like all my editing with photos and video. I know some people do it on their phones completely, but I just prefer the laptop. So
probably a lot more
for the most part, I don't really use too many apps, to be honest.
Alrighty then. When you're getting going and you're getting out, like how did you, in the first part when you got thrown out into the Philippines, how did you face all that? Like, you prepped, right? You prepped getting ready to go out to the Philippines when you were 19, but how was that on your nerves, your courage, and You know, like how do you stay focused on continuing like being excited to keep going to new places?
Yeah, there's only so much preparation, you know, like even if you prepare, you're really not prepared. You just got to go and do. So I'm all about that. Like I don't usually know what I'm getting myself into, but I'm like a firm believer, as long as you're moving forward, things will work out. Like the less time you're sitting there waiting for good things to happen, like the
You
better.
probably won't. Yeah, if you just
Yeah,
keep going.
just go and do, like things will work out as long as you're moving forward. So
Yeah.
for the mission, like I had no idea what I was getting myself into, to be honest. Like I just did it, you know, and like I believe like things just work out if as long as you're trying. Like
Yeah,
it may
absolutely.
not end up what you think it's gonna be, but it's
Again,
gonna work out, you know. Like
expectations.
yeah,
Try and leave those
exactly,
at the door. Don't pack your expectations.
exactly.
This
Like
one. I like that you said the faster you're going, the better they move. And my sister has told me this quote for such a long time, in that the universe works in the way of like when things are moving fast, like just like you said, they're usually moving in the right direction. That's
yeah,
how it's supposed to be moving. So follow that. When the things happen quickly, go with it. So I like
yeah,
that
for
you said
sure.
that. It's kind of the same.
Yeah, exactly. I for sure. Like even if something bad happens, then you're still moving. Like you're still moving forward. So like you're gonna overcome that quicker, and then move on to the next thing that will end up good. Hopefully, you know. Like
Yeah, always fail forward.
yeah.
With packing earlier, you had said, keep it simple. Do you have any packing tips that keeps it super simple and efficient? You know, like I know for you, it's different story. It's board shorts and a couple shirts. But when you first got going, like what was it that you've realized like, hey, you know, a lot of people said, don't bring the dress shoes. You always think you need dress shoes. You don't. Pack way less pants because you usually don't need them. You only need one pair. Is there any
Yep.
like other, good hacks or tips, especially because I will ask Zoe, she'll have many of her own, but for you,
hmm
do you have any that people could like plan better? I'm still bad at it.
If you don't need it, like don't pack it. You know, like and even if you think you need it, you might not even need it, to be honest. So like I said, I bought that bigger backpack, so it's like sick. I got so much more room to fill. Like
More
so a
stuff.
hammock is a genius idea. Like when I'm in the tropics, like it's gonna be so nice to pop up my hammock, and then I brought my hammock,
And then you never
and
use it.
then I hardly use like
Yeah,
maybe
there's
use it
hammocks
once, you know.
everywhere.
Yeah, maybe use it once, and you're just hauling around this extra weight that you don't need, and this extra room in your bag. It's just annoying. So you don't really you need a few shorts, you need a few shirts. I don't know, just whatever's lightest. Like I said, flip flops are so light; they're so much lighter than shoes. So, like to pack that is so much easier, and
Pack
just
lighter
like
things.
just the essentials, honestly. And then once you pack it, and then think, what are 3 items that you can take out? Once you think that it's done, what are 3 more items you can take out?
Pack it up and then take a few things out.
Yep.
I will notice I got the 60 liter when I left the Philippines because I know I was buying the one-way ticket to travel
hmm
Turkey and then South America. I thought, oh man, maybe I should get a bigger one. But then you get it on my bag and I'm on my back. I'm like, gosh dang it, why did I get this thing? It's so heavy.
Dude, exactly. Like
You
you
don't need it
wish
to
that
be that big.
you wish you only brought like 3 shirts.
Yeah, dude, I have way too
Why do
many
you need a new
shirts.
shirt? You know, like for every single day, you just swap. And when you're traveling, like
Uh,
I don't know, I think I have more shirts than I need now because I went to Australia and I just went and bought like 3 more shirts. They're all just plain colored because I only wear like plain tees.
yeah.
And then I still only wear the same shirts that I wore before I bought those because they're like my most comfortable ones. And it's only like 3 shirts that I cycle through, you know? Like,
You know who Mark Zuckerberg, I like that you said that. Mark Zuckerberg, he only has I think gray shirts when he's not
really?
having to wear suits. Yeah, because he doesn't want to have to think about outfits. He thinks that's just a waste of added stress or time, like to
Wow.
think about your outfit. So he just only wears gray shirts, plain gray shirts. And I think that's genius because you're not worried about trying to match shit. You're not trying to like stress yourself out about, oh God, what should I wear? This is
hmm
all I own.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
gray
Like,
shirts.
have you ever heard of Nas Daily? He's a Facebooker. He's like a YouTuber, but he
Uh-huh.
focuses on Facebook. And that's what he does. He wears the same shirt. It's obviously a new shirt every day, but it's the same design. He made his own logo, or it's like a percentage bar, and then it says like
I,
37% because he's
yes,
37 years old.
I do know
So he
that
just wears
guy.
that same shirt, like because he doesn't want to have to worry about that either. You know, he's just like
Yeah.
keep it simple.
Keep it simple. With traveling through the Philippines, and actually I'm curious about this with you. You know, people face immigration, and I'm sure you've faced immigration quite a lot.
hmm
Do you have you had any difficulties with immigration? And do you have any tips for facing immigration when people get there? Because it can be a bit intimidating.
So here's a unique one is a lot of countries require a ticket out, like a proof of leaving the country, right?
Yep.
So example, the Philippines, if you want to come visit the Philippines, you have to have a ticket out of the Philippines, which is strange because they allow you to extend your visa at immigration to stay longer than a month. So you either got to do like one of two options. You got to buy a ticket and then not take that ticket and just waste that. So you waste that money.
Right.
Or two, you got to be a little cheeky, but like it's worked for me. So I buy a ticket out, but it's within 24 hours you can get a refund. So once I'm through security and I've landed on the other side and I'm in, then I cancel that ticket. And then I go to immigration and then I just keep extending it. Why pay for the plane ride if you're not going to take it? And they allow you to stay longer as long as you go to immigration.
So how do you do that? You go back to the airport?
No. So example on Expedia.com. So right before I check in, I go to Expedia.com and then I book a flight with say like Manila to Kuala Lumpur for like $150. And then I check in because they say, do you have a ticket out of the Philippines? I say, yes. Here's my ticket. I show them my ticket. It's going to Kuala Lumpur like a month from now. And then I go through security. I get on my plane. Once I'm through, then I just cancel that ticket. Usually you might want to wait till you're like through security on the other side of the Philippines.
Right.
Like I usually wait till I'm in my hotel at my destination.
Yeah.
And then I'll cancel it. And then before your month ends, then you got to go to immigration and pay for your visa extension. But that's how I do it every time.
That's what I'm saying. So for the visa extension, you go back to the airport to extend it.
No, there's immigration buildings. So there's
okay. So you can just go extend for that. Is that how you've been staying so long? How do you get to stay so long?
Yeah, exactly. You just pay per month. So I usually just extend it by month. I think you can do 1 month, and then after your first month, you can extend 2 months, and then after that, you can extend 6 months. But the thing is, if you pay for 6 months and you ever leave the country and come back, then it's like wiped away. Like you got to restart. So you're paying for all these months that you're not there for. And
I think that
I just pay per month.
I think that foreigners should be able to go to like a speaking challenge, and if you can pass the challenge of their dialect, you should just get an extended stay. So
I'm all for that,
dude. I know you'll just crush it. I think that you should. I think we should vote for that, like for foreigners, if they can pass that, because I don't know any foreigners that can speak Tagalog like you. No one, none.
Sign the petition. Let's get it going.
Let's get it going, and then you'll be the only one in there. And so it really won't make a big deal to them. It's just one person.
Exactly.
When you're packing for trips, and I know you do a lot of short stuff. So one thing that I always try and prep nicely is my onboard game, because if you're packing long trips, you have your bag that goes under the plane, but what goes on the plane is really important. That's some of your crucial stuff. Do you have any tips, or like what are your go-tos for your carry-on items?
Carry-on for sure. I bring my headphones because you need those. Headphones, charger. I know obviously I have all my camera gear because you can't check that in. Pretty much all your essentials, like that you can't, like if it gets lost, you're done for. So like obviously you have your passport and you have all your like papers, within your carry-on, because if your bag gets lost, you're screwed. And I have all my camera gear with me. So pretty much if my bag gets lost, I just lose my clothes and I'm fine with that. Like, I'm not going to lose sleep over. I'll just go like buy another plain t-shirt somewhere else, So pretty much just like things that you can't travel without, like bring on your carry-on.
Yeah. You'd said earlier you had a travel hack, which was, you said one travel hack, which was the State Farm insurance. Do you have any when it comes to traveling, like your own that you live by or kind of have really helped with you and with all your time traveling in the Philippines?
What do you mean? Like,
I don't know,
just tips in general?
Yeah, just anything that's like really helped you in your travel. Because you travel so much,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, it's I think a lot is what you said already. Is don't have expectations and leave yourself time to not. For me, is like don't crunch your time. Leave yourself time to enjoy and really appreciate your time where you're at. That's something for me. It's super important.
Yeah, I would say a huge one is being flexible. So like, if you're on such a tight schedule, it's going to make it a worse experience, in my opinion, because you're being worried about hitting everything on the list. And then if something happens, it's raining, or have a plan, but don't have it too strict of a plan. Like be flexible to go somewhere else. If you meet some friends and they're like, oh, we're going to this island, and you can go roll with them to that island. Like you don't need everything planned, just go in there pretty flexible. It goes in the same boat as being low expectations or no expectations. You're just kind of going with the flow.
Yeah.
Another one I would say is get a local SIM card if you can. My first like year, I didn't have a local SIM card here, so it was so difficult. I can only use my phone when I was at the
Wi-Fi,
hotel because I had
yeah.
Wi-Fi. So like get your phone unlocked if it is locked, so you can put local SIM cards in because they're only like $1. You just prepaid load it, like it's super cheap.
Yeah,
Like
really cheap.
$2 can get you a whole week of data. So that saved me so many times when you're trying to coordinate with friends meeting somewhere. Because before it's like, once I leave my hotel, hopefully I find you, rather than if you have a SIM card, then you can call like, where are you? Like I've had just the hardest time trying to meet friends because I was so dumb and didn't have a SIM card. Like save yourself.
Very true. With all your skills and now your courses that you've taken, you have any advice on like any quick tips on how people can capture some really good photos, whether it's just our phone? What are some easy ones that we could ensure that because man, your photos are so freaking good. It looks like not real.
Thanks. I'm working on it in the process, but I would say the thing I'm learning the most and realizing lately is that light really is like super important.
Yeah.
Because before I would only shoot midday, and I'm realizing that all these big Instagrammers that are like, they're Instagram famous and they're like the photographers, they're mainly taking photos either like sunrise or sunset or like golden hour, like 30 minutes within the 30 minutes before and after sunrise and sunset. So that makes like such a big difference when you're shooting during those times rather than the middle of the day. I mean, I suck at waking up early, so I'm trying to do better. I'm getting that golden hour in the morning, but I make sure that I'm getting the golden hour at the nighttime at least.
That's a cool hack. I didn't really think about that. I mean, I know it's a great hour to get photos, but I didn't really think that that's why they have such great shots.
Yeah, like it's such a difference because midday I'm just realizing like it's just everything just looks. I mean, unless it's the ocean, because the ocean looks super good midday, like the super blue water. I don't know. It's just so much better if you do golden hour.
When it comes to your transport stuff, we talked about this a bit earlier with the bikes. But have you ever had any big transport mistakes, like any like real big blunders when it comes to transport and getting around?
Luckily, none come to mind.
Yeah.
Like for the most part, everything's gone pretty smooth.
You're lucky.
Nothing's worse than when it's like freaking the heavens have opened and it's just pouring down and you're like backpacking and you're hopping on bus to bus and it's just pouring rain. I mean, those are my nightmares. Like when you have to go to a new location and it's pouring rain. But so I mean, back to the travel hacks. I think spending more time in a place is always a great idea. Before I try to go to a new island like every 3 days, like new place every 3 days at least. And it was wearing me out, like you tire yourself out and you don't really get to see everything. If you're spending a month in a place, you're going to see some like super cool spots that aren't super well known. If you only have 3 days, you're just going to go to the super famous spots because it's easy to find.
Exactly.
But if you have more time in one space, you're going to find cooler spots, or at least less touristy spots. Giving yourself a little time in a place is always good.
Agreed. Yeah, I've noticed that you definitely you'll get outside the comfort zone when you spend more time there because, Roberto had said on the episode, like get out into the culture and watch the people, how they interact with each other. And once you get in there, you start feeling more comfortable in your surroundings. Then you're willing to start going and venturing out in a place that you would not normally go where, it's not tourists around because you feel a little more at home. With all your travel, how do you deal with cultural differences? How has your perspective changed on how you deal when you approach people with different culture? Because you definitely blend in very well. And, how can people change their perspective on dealing with cultural difference to approach it more like positively and more calmly?
What would you say? Like, give me some examples that I can feed off of.
Yeah, I'd say one is really just asking people, like trying to understand where they come from. I think we come from a culture that sometimes overly and I don't mean to call people out, but America can be very judgmental. Mm-hmm. And instead of actually digging into understanding people that they meet, they'll come off with a judgment from something they heard or saw on the news or read in a paper. Yeah. And, we forget to try and just understand these people, to have an understanding to who they are, why they think, the way they talk. And there's so many cultural differences. Like when I went to Turkey, man, people when I got back to the States were like, oh, weren't you scared? And I'm like, no, man, the people are freaking amazing. Like it was epic. So there, and that's everywhere, right? I mean, you're going to go deal with cultural differences everywhere. And
Yeah.
again, for me, like it's being open-minded, and then trying not to hold what your culture is in their culture, or having again, it's not having expectations.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. It's understanding, because that's what's insane about culture, like it's just one place, one group of people deciding what's like the norm,
Yeah.
and like our norm in the States is so different than what's norm in like Thailand.
It's so different.
And like you said, some people can be like very stubborn, or like they
Yeah.
just expect our norm to be the global norm, So like
Yeah.
we should be able to be like flexible to other people's cultures, and I don't know, just respecting other people's way of life, because that's how they grew up. Like that's all they know to be. I don't know.
Right.
And when it comes to travel, I think like the best way, or a good way to understand culture, is like trying to learn someone's language. Obviously I know like the language here in the Philippines, and that has like unlocked so many opportunities, and like I've connected with so many people because I speak the language. If I was speaking English, I would never would have those connections with these people, and like they never would have trusted me like they did. Like I've slept at random people's houses just because I spoke the language,
Yeah.
But even in Thailand, let's say, like I don't speak the language by any means, but I put an effort into speaking like the most basic.
Yes.
And you can really tell like how much they appreciate it, because you're not just that tourist that expects them to know English. Like we're in their country. Why should they speak English, Like I'm grateful that they do, because there would be no communication if there wasn't. But just the fact, even saying thank you, please, and looking like an idiot, saying like I'm Carson in Thai, like just learn it. Like I love learning the language, like writing down just to say small phrases, and
and carrying the paper
instantly you see smile, because like in a lot of the touristy areas, they're kind of sick of tourists, because that's the mentality. Like
For sure.
a lot of people can be mean to tourists, or can be mean to the locals. So when they see a tourist like putting an effort to learn their language, you just see the smile, and they open up a lot more, and they're a lot more friendly, and they want to show you around. Like it just opens up windows, even if you're not really speaking the language, but you're putting an effort in, and it shows, like, yeah.
I learned this the most when I went to France the first time, and I was like, just because, wow, these people are really rude. They really meet the stigma, like, wow, they really are rude. And then when I went the second time, I actually tried to learn the language a little bit, like the basics. I try to do that every culture I go to, learn the basics. And I was like, whoa, the whole world made a difference. Like they opened up to me, it's like, wow, okay, thank you for trying to learn our culture. And it's so true. You just have to, just the basics. That's what I tell people. Just hello, how are you? Thank you, please, excuse me, sorry, can you help me? Where is? What's funny is, I've always learned a little in a lot of places. I've never learned a lot in one place. And me and my sister went to a Thai restaurant recently, and the people that came to our table, and I started like asking the server and how they were, and how their day is, and thank you for the food, and take care. And they're like, wow, you speak Thai? And I was like, no, this is all I know.
Yeah, dude.
All I know.
That's exactly what I did after Thailand. Just like at your local Thai restaurant, you're like, Roddy Cap.
Yeah. Mai.
Just flexing on them with your like 3 words,
Yeah.
Yeah, they love it though.
They do. Man, you guys are always going, I just mentioned this about your photos, but you two are always going to some really cool remote places. How do you find these places, and how do you get to them? Dude.
You just get lost.
Yeah.
That's me's huge. Like I said, like the island is like, it's no secret, but there's places in the island. You just got to get on a scooter, follow Maps.me, anything. And even if nothing shows up on Maps.me, just follow the map where like something looks cool. And a lot of the times, like it's kind of a letdown. It's like, oh, this isn't really anything. That's fun in the adventure in itself, like the journey, and like just what happened that day, like fun. And then sometimes you'll get lucky and you just find something so sick. And, like those are way more rewarding than going to like the waterfall that everyone's at,
I had one of those crazy stories happen when I was in Bali off the Nusa Islands and Nusa Lembong, and Nusa Penida, same thing. Just took a bike and got lost, and like, dude, it was the best story. It's crazy stuff happened. Now, speaking of crazy stuff, have you ever? What's like the craziest place you've ever slept? Have you ever slept anywhere like just so like messed up? Like, oh, I can't believe I slept here.
I mean, there can be different kind of messed up. I would say my like most awkward, worst experience was in a hostel in Cebu.
Why? What happened?
So it wasn't like the rowdiest, like craziest hostel, but it's kind of a little party hostel, and I don't know. Anyways, one of these nights they had drinking games, and I personally don't drink, and I had a friend in Cebu, so I was going to meet up with my friend and go eat some dinner. And so I come back from eating dinner, and everyone's already drunk from the drinking games. And then so some couples out on the table next to me or the bench next to me, and they're just, just making out, going at it, just like getting very touchy. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, please don't be in my hostel. Like, I don't care what you do, just don't be in my hostel. And then an hour later, I go into my hostel, and it's pitch black. So, the courtesy, you don't just go flick on the switch because there's other people. It's bunk beds. So I have my flashlight, and so I'm trying to navigate, and I just look over to my bunk bed. And then, of course, that couple's on the bottom of my freaking bunk just going – well, they acted like they were frozen when I walked in. They just kind of – but I see the dude's pants below his waist, and he's on top. Man. I'm like, you're kidding me. Like, I was pissed. I was like, whatever. I'm too tired. So I threw my stuff on the ground, hopped on top. As soon as I get on top, like, I just buckled in, put on that seatbelt, and I was just getting rocked all night, aka only rocked for like 5 minutes. And then the bunk bed across from me, the dude was super drunk, and I guess earlier that night he peed on the floor because he was so drunk.
Oh my gosh!
So he wakes up and he sits up and hits his head on the bunk, and he's just like yelling because he rocked his head. I was like, "What is going on?" And then he gets on and then he stands up and starts whipping it out because he's gonna take another piss.
Oh no!
So I jump off my bunk bed and grab my bags because he's gonna take a waz on my bag, and his friend wakes up and like grabs him, and they're like trying to force him out.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've ever eaten in Philippines? I mean, they have some interesting delicacies, but usually they're all really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of balut, even though it is a delicacy.
Oh, yeah, the balut.
Filipinos love it. It's a duck embryo.
Yeah, so if you don't know what balut is, it's a delicacy in the Philippines, and it's basically the egg of a bird, of a chicken.
Of a duck.
And it's it's partially grown. Sometimes it's already gotten feathers, like and they eat. There's bones. There's small bones, and so they eat that. And this is the funny part. When I lived there, I get so many people ask me, "Have you tried balut yet? Have you tried balut yet?" Before, I have tried it, and I'd be like, "No, I haven't. Do you eat balut?" And they'd be like, "No, it's disgusting."
No, the Filipinos?
Some, not all. Some love it. Some are like, "No, that's
it's either they love it or they hate it." But the ones that love it, man, it's like,
oh yeah, it's pretty foul. I've tried it once. It was really rough to get through.
Yeah, it really depends on how big the chick is, and it's crazy how big an 18-day egg versus a 22-day egg is dramatically different. Like like a 16-year-old, a 16-day egg is like very small. I can eat it. It's like a hard-boiled egg, pretty much.
Yeah.
Tastes pretty similar. You get to 18, you're starting to get some crunchiness, and like it's kind of hard to down, to be honest. And you get 22, and you're getting those like little feathers on there, like that thing's chirping, bro. It's
pretty gross.
Yeah,
interesting. And what's crazy is I think it's a mental thing. Like, it does taste like a hard-boiled egg.
Yeah,
like you said,
the taste is not terrible. Yeah,
No,
you gotta close your eyes and throw it in.
Total mental thing. Now, what's your favorite food there? Because again, like I said, they have some amazing food.
Yeah, they got some great food. Have you heard of sinigang? Do you eat sinigang at all?
It's my favorite.
So good. My favorite is the fish sinigang. So I think
there's tell me, what are the ones again that there
are?
Fish?
There's milkfish sinigang is my favorite. There's pork sinigang.
Yeah, pork.
Probably just vegetable sinigang. I'm not sure. It's a tamarind based soup. Yeah. So it's kind of like almost sour, tangy-ish.
It is sour. Yeah.
Yeah. I had my friend try it from the States, and he did not enjoy it. He said it was it's very different. I don't even know how to explain the taste, but
spicy.
I love it, dude.
Oh, it's my favorite. I'm glad that you love that too. So amazing. Okay, while we're in this little fun section of fun questions, I want to, in the last episode, I did this little section called the Fish Bowl of Randomness. And I have this bowl here with questions in it, just on the piece of paper. And I'm just going to reach in and grab, they're just fun questions. And so I'm just going to reach in and grab a question out, and just short, quick answer, no explanation, no needed for it, just to get some fun answers going through the section. Are you in for the Fish Bowl of Randomness?
Yeah, so is this just like one word reply?
Yeah.
Just no explanation?
Yeah, no explanation needed. Just
right.
Just fun questions. All right.
Let's do it.
All right, question number 1. If you were a cartoon character, who would you be?
Max from the Goofy movie.
Okay. Number 2. what is the most unrealistic thing that you wish you could actually do? Like fly or mine's like, I just wish I could just go live in space.
Probably teleport.
Okay. Yeah, that would be fun. All right. Number 3, what is your childhood nickname?
Master Moody.
Master Moody.
That's
Your
my
name,
junior high nickname.
Master Moody. You do sound like you have a name that's from like the movies. I'm not gonna
Mad Eye Moody from Harry Potter.
All right, number 4. Oh, this is a good one. Oh, she's gonna like this. Describe. Okay, you can describe your best friend or your partner, which would be Zoe, in 3 words.
Smart, stubborn, beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. And the last one, if you could be born in a different era of civilization, what would it be?
Ooh,
Yeah, mine's
probably
Egypt.
the era of Native Americans. I freaking love them. I
Ah,
love the Native Americans.
yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. Just that was fun.
Pretty random. I respect
Yeah,
it.
it's super random. So just moving on, like preparing your life, man, you've done so much around travel, and so many people I've gotten in my life, and I didn't realize it until recently, have told me how inspiring it is, like how inspiring how I choose my life, and you are far beyond what I do, and I'm sure a lot of your friends and family are probably like, man, you really inspire me. How have you based your life, have you prepared your life around this? How do you get the mindset around it? How do you It's mind-blowing to me because I think it's amazing.
Like I said, my whole life I've just been go with the flow kind of dude. That's how my mom always explains me to people, just flying under the radar. Like
Yeah.
I just kind of go with the flow, whatever life gives me. Yeah, just very like type B personality. I don't know how to say anything's prepared me other than I'm just doing what I've always been doing and just riding the wave of life.
Yeah,
Just go with the
I
flow.
really enjoy that. Just take it as life comes. I really in life like that too. I still find myself like attached to this work life.
Hmm.
I enjoy your life so thoroughly, and I'm still trying to figure out how to get there.
Hmm.
And I'm still attached to work life. So I think it's really cool how you live your life. I'm really admired by it. That's why I think I've connected with you so quickly. But doing so, like when you first started, did you have a special type of saving plan? Do you have any, like, again, you're simple, and I know you're not like just this like super rich by any means. And some people that are vlogging out, I mean, make a shit ton of money. But like, how do you save around this, and how do you keep the lifestyle going? Like, how can people plan their life around saving? And I ask like the guests on the show, how can people get their mind wrapped around planning for a lifestyle like that, or traveling more, even just in general?
Yeah. So that's hard because someone that loves spending money is probably not going to just like change on the fly.
Yeah.
My whole life, I've hated spending money. Like my family jokes that I have the first dollar that I've ever earned. Like my friends would always like make fun of me in college because I don't want to go do something because I don't want to spend money kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I've always had money saved up. Like my biggest purchase I've ever had was that drone. And it's before I even vlogged. I don't even know why I bought it, honestly. It just played out well that I started vlogging.
Yeah.
But like I had a heart attack when I pushed purchase online. I was like, what did I just do? What the heck did I just do? But so yeah, I've always been super thrifty. And so I earned up this money, and the Philippines, Southeast Asia is a great place if you want to travel because it's so cheap.
Mm.
Like I figured I could go an entire year and not earn a cent, and I would be fine because I'm not spending a lot of money in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And if I had to pick up just some classic 9 to 5 after a year of traveling, I would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you have the luxury of being somewhere to earn money like the US dollar, in the States, you can earn money easily. Save it up and go to Southeast Asia or somewhere cheap because that dollar will go a long ways. And like I said, I'm cheap, so I don't spend money on dumb stuff that I don't need. Like it might dumb in my opinion, might not be dumb to someone.
Yeah,
But
sure.
like me, I don't need to go buy. I don't go and buy coffee every morning. That's $6. Like that adds up a ton.
Yeah,
The
agreed.
fact that I don't drink, I think that saves me a ton of money in my travels.
Oh, heaps. I'm so glad I
Just
stopped.
everything in
Man,
life.
I've stopped since.
Really?
Yeah, man. I mean, I had like a smidge of some wine tonight, but like
Yeah.
if I would have drank a full glass, I'd be like drunk. Like I barely ever drink anymore. Literally, and I went vegetarian last September.
Nice,
So
dude.
I agree. And I remember when I was traveling Europe, I was going out partying all the time with my buddy. We'd always be drinking and partying. And
Mhm.
that was like oh, this is kind of not, I'm not really digging this. And I stopped drinking. And then about a month later, my buddy goes, how much money do you have still left from your travel? And I told him, he's like, dude, you have double what I have. He goes, how did that happen? I go, dude, I don't drink when we go out anymore.
Yeah.
You're right. That will add up. And don't get me wrong. I still would love to go out.
Even if you drink, yeah, like
yeah,
it's
a beer here and there would be nice, but man, you can really dwindle your money quick.
yeah, exactly. Like coming from me, it's pretty biased because I don't drink my entire
Yeah,
life, but
yeah.
I have friends in the same industry that travel blogs and they drink, but they say the same things on their travel blogs. Like they hardly ever, occasional if they
Mhm.
want to go out and have a
Yeah.
good night or something like that, because like they save so much money and they're in the same boat. Like they just love not spending money and they would rather spend the money towards traveling and
Yeah.
like
I've realized like
like
one beer can be one night in a hostel in some new city. So it's like, dude, I'd rather just do
that's
that.
exactly how I think, bro. Like
It's
I lived in Hawaii for 3 months and an internship, and they didn't pay us a lot. And I'm not a foodie, really. I know some people are. So me and my roommates were not foodies, and we ate at McDonald's every day because it was way cheaper than eating a $15 burger in Hawaii because everything's so expensive. Just looking at money that way, it's like that $15. That's like 2 nights in a hostel. That's how I look at things. So it's like I don't need this hamburger. I'd rather have 2 nights in the Philippines, kind of thing.
yeah, I hear you. That's how I.
But you gotta enjoy this
For
stuff. Like I'm
sure.
not saying it's bad. That's just how I look at money. Like what is $15? Like where could that get me? Like where would I rather spend the money?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's perspective too. Again, like you said, it's okay if you're just leaving.
Wherever your happiness is.
Yeah, if you're just leaving, you're for a work holiday, it's only 7 days, then
Yeah.
okay. But if like, where you travel, where I like to travel too, it's like, okay, you start to really look down into the dollar. Someone said in one of my shows, someone said that putting I think it was Roberto had said, put a jar in your house that's travel money. And so you can see it, because if your money just sitting in your bank, it will just disappear. He's
For
like,
sure.
but if you see it, you're more willing to put money in there, and you're more willing not to touch it if you know that it's like towards something, and then you build your life around the travel because
Yeah.
you're planning something.
Yeah, it just goes down to what your priority is. If your priority is like good food, because some people love great tasting food,
yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Go find like the best burger in the world. Just keep, but for me, I'd rather find location. So I'd rather spend the money on a plane ticket.
100%. I'm the same. Rather get that stamp.
Yeah,
Carson, what about travel has like truly impacted your everyday life, and really changed you for the better?
I would say when I first solo traveled, it was super eye-opening for me, mainly for just seeing the world, because I grew up in Utah. It's kind of known as the Utah, like the Mormon bubble, like everyone's very conservative. Majority, I mean, a lot of people still drink, but compared to the rest of the world, like no one really drinks compared to the rest of the
Yeah.
world. It's just such a bubble, like, so I got to see the rest of the world, and I got to meet so many people on travels, what people are like from France, people are like from Israel, what's their normal life. So it's just so eye-opening, and like become less judgmental, because like we talked about earlier, when you understand people's cultures, that's just the norm, and like accepting other people's norms. How they grew up is different than how you grew up. So it's just so eye-opening for me, and just so cool to meet so many different people.
It could go, I'm sure you could go on and on about that topic. I'm just curious. When you go home and visit your friends, are you just bombarded with like, how do you do it? How are you doing? Oh my God. Like I used to get that. Now everyone's kind of used to it. But I would imagine after a couple of years, you being gone, people still kind of be like, wow, you just blow me away how you do it.
Yeah, for the most part, like it's sad, but the reality is like the only questions you get is, so are you rich? Are you making a lot of money? Like that's the reality.
Yeah.
Like people just want to know you're
Yeah.
successful based on how much money you earn,
Yeah,
not like
sure.
how much you're enjoying life.
How many experiences you have. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sad because we got stuck in this lockdown with a pair of Canadians, an older
Mhm.
couple from Canada.
Yeah.
And they're back in Canada. They made it up. But they said it's sad because they go home and like their friends never want to talk to them about their experiences and stuff, because like when you leave, like you're switching everything up, but they're in the exact same place as when you left,
Yeah.
So like no one really wants to talk about your experiences for the most part, like just kind of like crab mentality kind of thing. That's what they were saying. I was like,
Mhm.
I can see that. Like not everyone obviously, but for the most part, it's kind of low key. When I go home, it's kind of like nothing ever
Yeah. It's just
happened. Just
normal
go
chat,
back to the
yeah.
same. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong about it, but
No, of
there's
course.
different chat with different people, like versus when I talk to other travelers, there's different conversations than when I
Yeah,
talk to my friends at home.
I've definitely found, for myself, and this, if people end up start to, travel more often, you probably find this when you get back home at times is, you start finding what conversations you can have with certain people and
Mm.
how far that will go. And you start finding the people in your life that really support that sort of your lifestyle. And they'll ask you the questions that, I have two friends, my friend Ben and Davin, and they ask the most amazing, they don't travel like me at all.
Yeah.
And one is a full-time dad and owns two businesses, and another, my buddy, works full-time on music and doesn't travel out of the country as much as me, not nearly. But they have the best questions,
So
like
good.
they invigorate more out of you, and sometimes even challenge you. And it's like, whoa, man, I don't even know, I need to get you that answer though, and so you start to find out, where people fit in your life, and not to say
Mhm.
that they don't fit, but how, like, you incorporate them still into your life and find balance there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a surprise which people are interested in hearing about your travels,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's people you don't expect. Like
Very
yeah,
true.
it's interesting.
If you could pick one spot, right, okay, out of your 30 provinces that you've been at this very moment, and to live the rest of your life there.
Somewhere in the Philippines that I would spend the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Whew, man, that one's tough because this is the question I've been asking myself to find like a home base, because
I know.
Zoe has really wanted a home base.
Yeah,
even
you said that before.
just to put our backpack down and have a home here, because we're just backpacking stuff. So that's tough because there's so much to weigh.
So much good stuff there.
We were super close to being based in Siargao, because like if I'm going to be based somewhere, I want to have an activity. So I would like to get better at surfing, and like there's always pros and cons. You're not going to have like the malls that have all the stuff you need and stuff, but I'm okay with that. So I would say like Siargao probably, if I had to be stuck. If I had
can't wait to go there. So many people
like
say
kind of
it's
leave
so
anywhere. Yeah, just because that's it's got a different vibe than the rest of the Philippines too. I love the vibe everywhere, but like the island vibe, it's so good. If you want to live a true island life, like Siargao has that feel.
Definitely gonna have to pay you to be my guide to go there. All right, here's one of the questions, like nearing the end of the show, that I ask everybody. If right now you were to see yourself as little Carson passing you on the street, and you had your little backpack on and it was like overflowing with school books and supplies, what solid piece of advice would you give to him?
Ooh, might be controversial, but I'd say stop school, go learn photography. I'm serious. Like, I wish I spent all those years just getting out and learning photography, because it's taken me till now to realize that's what I'm really enjoying. And who knows, it may even change a year from now,
Yeah.
But like all through, even until I graduated, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And now I feel pretty confident that I want to
Proceed with that.
pursue like some more photography and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So if I spent those 4 years of college, just like downing, getting photography on point, like that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. And what cool memories you're building from around the world through photo.
Yeah.
Man, bro, I didn't figure out my life until just recently. So I'm 10 years older than you.
Yeah. Well, the sick thing is, like, it's going to change.
That's
Like,
funny.
that's how we are. Like, we're never really going to figure it out.
Yeah. and
That's what's fun about it.
You ever, yeah. But at least, like, like you're finding that passion. And again, I'm 10 years older than you. I'm just now finding the things that I'm super passionate about. I don't even know where this podcast even came from, but I'm loving it right now. Like, that might change in a year. It might change in 6 months, but being flexible to the point that's like, just have fun while you're doing it. I'm loving it.
Dude, it's such a good experience. Like, look back at it, even if you don't continue at it, even if I don't continue what I'm doing, like,
so much better off though to have that skill, and just and that's a craft for yourself, a hobby that you'll take forever for the rest of your life.
Just glad I didn't get sucked into something at age 20 and then just be in that same path the rest of my life till I die, and didn't get to taste things at least, like figure out some stuff that I enjoy.
Someone just brought up the other day to me, like, people going through midlife crisis, and now, like, being at my life, I can totally understand why people go through them, because just what you just said, you choose this path and you didn't really go experience life yet a bit, and then you go down this path for so long, and then you're like, you get to the fork in the road.
You're so sick of it.
Oh yeah. And you're like, this is not what I really wanted. This isn't what I'm passionate about. And that's where that crisis happens. The fork in the road is like, okay, my fork in the road is start over at 40 years old and try and chase something that I have no idea. Again, you walk into the uncertainty. It's what we talked about at the very beginning of the show. You walk into the uncertainty and the unknown, but towards something that you might actually passionately love, or you walk into the certainty and you just say, well, forget it. This is who I am already. And I'm just going to be this for the rest of my life. You know?
Yep.
It's such a dilemma. And like you said, I wish at 20 myself, I'd started traveling earlier, but you know, at least, you know, we're working on passion projects now and we're being able to inspire people to work in passion projects for themselves, you know, whether they're younger or older.
Passion projects. I love that.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite Filipino saying? And I want to hear it in whatever dialect that you have.
My favorite saying, it's just one word.
What?
And it's pastilan.
Pastilan. Don't know that one.
Yeah. It means like, actually it means a lot of different, like, it's like, what the heck? Just like, and it's an expression, but
yeah,
just pastilan. Like if something doesn't go right or something's funny, just pastilan, like someone's being a joker. I don't know. It's weird, but it's my favorite word.
All right. Do you have any last piece of advice for anyone listening when it comes to life, traveling? Do you have any actually like quotes that you live by that you can share before we jump out of here?
I mean, I'm not very good at being that motivational speaker kind of dude. But I mean, like we talked about, my only advice is chase something you love. It's easier for some people, like in our position, we don't have too much holding us back. So I understand someone that has like 4 kids, you know, they can't just drop everything and go pursue something, but make it a side hustle if you can. Just pursue something that's going to make you happy. Like for me, I've watched a lot of Gary Vee and he talks about, and I agree, I would much rather make 80K and love what I'm doing than making 150K and hate what I'm doing, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
or even 1 million and hate what you're doing.
Exactly. Like it's so much better and it's so worth it just to be happy in life.
Yeah.
Like that's the main goal. So
passion projects, baby.
Yes, sir.
Do you mind sharing any of your social media details? Do you know, to bring more out? You know, I want people to see what you're doing, bro. And I'm going to post a lot too, but can you share it here? Like where the best way to follow you, get involved?
Yeah, probably just follow. The easiest is Carson.Moody on Instagram.
Yeah.
From there, you kind of branches out and you can reach all the socials. My YouTube is Bisayang Hilaw, so it's kind of hard to remember if you're not a Filipino.
Yeah.
The latest videos do have subtitles if you want to check them out. For the first half of my vlogging, I couldn't be bothered and do subtitles. So you can kind of understand what's going on. Now. Yeah, I'm starting to do.
I can watch more.
Yeah, exactly. I hate doing them, but I'm doing them.
Yeah. I've noticed even people when they're speaking English have a lot of subtitles now of the same language. And
I guess
so
some people watch sound, you know, on their phones, just like in class or something.
At least I can watch more now of your shows because I can know what you're saying.
Understand. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say just Carson.Moody on Instagram. And
before I let you go, I know you got some projects coming up. Anything that you can sneak a hint at of what's to come? What can we be looking forward to?
Just get ready, hopefully, for some new material that isn't solely Filipino based. It's gonna be expounding, hopefully, globally.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I know you got some stuff under the radar that's coming. I can't wait.
Sir, let's get it.
Awesome, man. Well, Mr. Moody, aka Mr. Bisayang Hilaw, as we near the end of this episode, it's really crazy to think 1 year ago we were traveling through those gorgeous waters and the islands, and you know, on those Red Bull boats, sending flips, sending it off, you know, sending gainers. But man, what an honor for you to be on the show with me a year later, working on these passion projects that I'm finally working on, you know, after I've watched you work on passion projects since the day I met you. Thank you for spending the time. Thank you for helping support me on my journey for the podcast. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, perspectives, your awesome stories with us. You're totally an inspiration. You inspire other people to get out there and live their dream life. I will be forever watching your journey and evolving story, and I'm going to be joining you soon out there, so you just get ready. I'm going to be on.
Dude, we're freaking ready for you. Just let us know anytime. Thanks for having us. I'm super stoked. Like, we've stayed connected for an entire year.
I am too. It's crazy.
I don't think I've stayed connected to much people from that Red Bull trip, but
yeah, and it's on and off with me and you, and it's like, you know, what's cool is like we can pick back up whether it's for 30 seconds or 2 minutes, and you know, I'm so glad that we can spend 2 hours together and like get to chat. It was really freaking awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, bro. We'll see you here in the Philippines sometimes.
Absolutely. Carson, welcome to the family and the tribe of Inspire the Collective. Stay safe out there. Keep that bag strapped and laced. And the pro traveler mindset tip for the week is: the man who goes alone can start today, but he who travels with another must wait till that other person is ready. And that will wrap up another episode of What's in Your Backpack. Thank you for joining Carson, aka Mr. Bisayang Hilaw, and I for this amazing journey. Stay tuned for next week's episode as we have another world explorer that I randomly stumbled across in a hostel in Bucaramanga, Colombia. When we met, this dude was on an 18-month travel exploration of Central and South America, and now he will be joining the family of Inspire the Collective. If any of the listeners have questions, topics, or agendas we can discuss with upcoming guests, please comment, message, and share whatever's on your mind so we can gain insights from our show's guests. Until next week's episode, stay safe out there, stay humble, and stay tuned for another episode of What's in Your Backpack. To stay current with Inspire the Collective, head over and join our Facebook page where there will be updated photos from some of Carson's journey, his tips and tricks we discussed in this episode, plus much more. To get further involved and join our web-based community, head over to www.inspirethecollective.com. Subscribe to our recently started YouTube page, and don't forget to follow my Instagram at Michael__O'Shea to get your fill of inspirational content, podcast updates, and travel fun. Try to remember that you can't buy happiness, but you can buy a plane ticket, and that's sort of the same thing.